I've got to be somewhere in an hour and a half, which means I need to cook and eat and still leave myself 10 to 15 minutes to get across town. I'm almost 50 years old. I will be 50 in January, which is just 2 months away from now. And people ask me, what's the secret to looking so young? Well, I don't stress. And one of the things that I don't stress about is food. At almost 50, I have consumed approximately over 30,000 meals in my life. That's a lot of time eating food, so I have very little tolerance for bad food. You ever go into a place and you've got good food, bad service? Bad food, good service? Bad food, bad service. Yeah, that's more common, especially nowadays. So I prefer to cook for myself. I prefer to cook for you. And this is the first show, the first episode of the first season. You get to watch me do it. And depending on the feedback and the interest, maybe I'll make another meal and I'll keep going. Today's menu, shrimp Alfredo, my style. No cans. We don't do jars of sauce and all that. I'm going to show you how to make an Alfredo sauce from scratch. We're going to make our own shrimp, seasoned and grilled or pan-seared the way that we want. And I'm going to show you how to present it. All probably about 30 minutes or less. Let's go get that water on. That pasta is going to take the longest. Let's go. Okay, so here we go. Shrimp Alfredo. First thing we're going to do is, let me take these glasses off so I can hear you. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get, I got a pot here with just some water. Just some water. I'm going to put that on the boil because for the most part, the pasta is going to take the longest. I have some shrimp that I have sitting here. I had just thawing out because they were frozen. Something I typically don't do. I hate frozen food. But I'm going to put on the back burner a little bit here because I want to get a sear on those shrimp. While that's heating up, I'm going to also start heating up my my skillet for my sauce. And in that pan, I've got about a half a stick of butter here. I'm going to put that in the pan. Okay, that's that. And I like to put just a little splash of olive oil in there just so that the butter doesn't burn. So, all right, let's put that over there. Okay, we're going to melt this. After we melt this, we're going to put in some chopped garlic. Fresh garlic. You could use the other stuff, but why? Why would you? For why? 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 So, while that's getting heated, I'm going to go ahead and put in some garlic, and I'm going to get about 4 cloves, 4 decent sized cloves. I don't mind doing a little more, but oh, by the way, right now we're going to set the kitchen timer for 30 minutes, and let's just see Let's just see how long this takes us. Actually, let me come over here. You could probably see my face, but you won't see me chopping. So, garlic burns easy, so we're not really trying to get brown garlic because, well, people say it tastes bitter. I don't think bitter is an accurate word for it. I will say it does not taste as desirable, but I've had brown garlic before. I didn't mind it really. However, this is a white sauce. The Alfredo sauce is a white sauce. And so, because of that, you have to be really selective on what colors you put in your sauce. If there's color in there, it should be because you want color in there. All right, and there's a little brown piece of garlic here that I do not want. So the butter's melting. Melting, it's melting. Turn that up a little bit. Okay. Also, in the pasta water, I'm going to put a little bit of salt in the water to help flavor the pasta. I'm not really I don't like salt. I don't mind a little bit to season. But when I eat, I don't want to eat a plate full of salt. And your fingers swell up and everything swell. Salt is not flavor to me. Salt is simply salt. So, all right. Now, the shrimp, I want to put some Old Bay seasoning on here. And by the way, you don't want your shrimp super wet if you plan on getting a sear on them, because it's not going to look like you seared them. It's going to look more like you steamed them. And they'll taste almost as good, but I see a lot of people post pictures of their food, and the food looks great with one exception. The food lacks color. So if you're going to pan sear something or grill something, it should have some type of grill marks, some type of char marks. Nobody wants to eat a pale piece of chicken. No one wants to eat a pale steak, or in this case, pale shrimp. So I want the pan pretty hot, so when I drop that shrimp in there, it begins to sear right away. And let's get some tongs over here. And you hear that? That's what you want. And you only want a few minutes to cook these shrimp. I'm not trying to finish them in the pan. I'm only putting them in this pan to get grill marks, or sear marks in this case. Do not overcook your shrimp. They turn into rubber. They get really stringy. And although they may still taste good, that is not ideal situation for shrimp. When they turn orange, which if I flip one over now, it's already starting to turn a little orange. When they turn orange, that doesn't yet, but I am going to put all of my garlic down on the inside parts. Okay, that's that. Now, I love spicy food, so I'm going to put some crushed pepper in here. Not too much. Again, it's more so for color. These shrimp are ready to flip already. Let's go ahead and flip these over. I could probably let them go for a couple more seconds or so, but I'm not. Oh, it smells amazing. So with this butter that's warming up, when you start to smell that garlic, it's ready to start adding other stuff. Now, what other stuff we're going to add in here? So far, we've got garlic, we've got crushed pepper, and we've got butter. That's all we've put in here. The majority of this sauce is made up of either heavy cream, half and half, or both. Some people use milk. Some people add egg yolk. I've done it that way, but today I'm going to make it super simple. All right? We're 6 minutes into cooking, folks. 6 minutes. And today, I've got heavy cream in there, but I also have some half and half that I want to use up. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay? You do not want this to boil, so to speak. You just want to kind of heat it through. Those flavors and so forth are going to meld together. You also want some good cheese. I'm going to turn the back fire off for the shrimp. They are done enough. I can smell them. Okay. And I'm going to take that off of the stove. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zest some of this lemon zest in here. You do not want the white part, the pith. You don't want that. You just want the yellow that's in there. And believe it or not, that adds a lot to your dish. All right, that's the lemon. And let's get a whisk. Now, it's been 8 minutes, and believe it or not, that sauce is almost done. My water hasn't even started to boil yet, and we're almost done already. Black pepper, I like it, but again, I'm real particular about what's in my sauce. And I don't want the black flakes in there. If you have white pepper, you can use that. Because I'm using shrimp, I'm going to add some Old Bay seasoning, just a little bit, to my Alfredo sauce. I did sprinkle some, as you saw, on the shrimp earlier. Now, this is new for me. This is ground nutmeg. And I heard if you put just a pinch in there, it helps bring out the flavor of the cheese. What cheese? This is Parmigiano Reggiano. Oh, Romano. Well, I just wanted to say Reggiano, but it's not. It's Parmesan and Romano cheese. Grated. I prefer the fresh stuff. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and use up this little bit that I have, because fresher is always better. Always. You just get that down in there. Now that cheese is pretty salty, so you don't need a lot of salt in this dish. So be very, very careful about how much salt you add in there. I remember one day I was sitting down eating dinner with my parents, and I cooked for them, and before my mother had even tasted the food, she grabbed a salt shaker and she went crazy on it. Now, as a cook, I didn't like that anyway, but oh, big old chunk in there. Somebody's gonna be happy. Yep. We're just gonna act like we're not on camera here. Anyway, she grabbed a salt shaker and she went crazy on it. And I could not imagine just grabbing salt and shaking it on my food before I even tasted it. Some people just like salt. This runaway cheese here. I'm going to put that on there. My fire is a little bit too high for my sauce. Like I said, you don't want that to burn. I've got boiling water for my pasta. Since that's going to take the longest, we're going to go ahead and put this in here. Now I'm really just making pasta for two. How many minutes we've got here? We're doing pretty good on time. So put that in there, and let's just try to clean as I go. Nothing worse than a dirty kitchen. Well, there's a couple things worse. Anyway, so Mom put a whole bunch of salt on there, and I don't want to say I snapped at her because, well, if you know my mom, you don't snap. You know, you don't snap at my mom. But I snapped at her, and she looked at me like I had lost my mind because I had the nerve to tell her how to season her food. Now, you can see this sauce is, it smells delicious, but it's getting thicker already. Now, I'm going to add just a little bit of that Parmesan Romano cheese in there. I didn't have any now, but normally I put probably about a quarter cup of mozzarella cheese in there too, because I like my cheese or my Alfredo sauce really creamy. Just stir this, those noodles in there. Now, for the most part, this sauce is done, but it's missing something. Not out of necessity, but out of presentation. A lot of times, you know, I'll post stuff online or what have you, and people say, "Oh, are you a chef?" No, I am not a chef, but I really, really, really enjoy cooking, and I believe presentation. I'm gonna take some. Oh, that sauce looks good already, even without this. Just gonna roughly chop my parsley, and I'm just gonna sprinkle it in. You're not really cooking the parsley. The parsley is there for color, a little splash. That's it. Now, I could stop there. Turn this down a little more. I could stop there, but I won't, because, you know, I mean, that's a sauce by itself, right? We've got butter, we've got garlic, we've got crushed pepper. You can omit that if you don't like spicy. What else do we have in there? A little bit of nutmeg, and we have our cheese, or cheeses in this case. And that's basically it. It's been 15 minutes, the sauce is done. Right? Yes, I know there's shrimp still sitting over there. I don't want to put it in there too soon because I don't want the shrimp to overcook. Right? So we're still waiting for this pasta to play catch up. Now, the other thing that I do, because I like color, is I like to add a tomato. Just enough to make that color really, really pop. So I'm just going to dice up a little bit. And again, it's not going to change the flavor, you know. Sometimes I cut out the little seed area so that, you know, matter of fact, I'm going to drain quite a bit of that out this time. I don't want a really runny sauce. So you can actually take out, let me show you what I'm doing here. You can actually take out all the seeds and so forth. And then just use the skin and the inside so that your soup, or not your soup, your sauce doesn't turn. Sharpen my knives too. Get good knives, people. Knives are important. Alright, so that's that. So again, this is just how I do it. Alright? So let's take a spoon. And if somebody's at my door, I can turn this off. Spread that around a little bit. And now is when I like to season or check for seasoning. Does not need any salt. Now, noodles should be just about done. Now, the noodles you want al dente, but not too al dente. And I like to get them somewhat undercooked because it will suck up the additional moisture of the sauce. For instance, I put those tomatoes in there, so. Hey folks, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my video had cut out. But this is the finished product. Shrimp Alfredo. I'm going to toss it, make sure that pasta doesn't dry out. All right. Tune in next time. Thanks for hanging out.